This is the Black Ops division of Flow Sports. We're dropping nuclear bombs today. Welcome to the Den of the Illuminati. I'm your host, the motherfucking king of the streets, Hollywood Mike. Joining me as always, C. Murder, Corey Stockton, Razor Reed Connell on the far left. In the back, subbing for Connor Josh, and today we don't know where he is, inexcused absence. We got Trey Robinson. You gonna be on the YouTube and the Discord chat and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, I'm in there right now, so let me know what you guys want to say, and I'll relay it to the gang here.
If you got any questions for us, go ahead and put them in there. We'll talk about them later. No cyberbullying. Trey's a very sensitive guy, but we got a lot to talk about. Tezos, who's number one? Gordon Ryan versus Jacob Couch was a hell of a night. 5 out of 8 matches by submission. One of, I think, our best who's number one yet. But before we get that, let's talk about Neo BJJ, the Morpheus. Just wait till you guys see how jacked I get on this thing. I'm submitting my DNA test. They mailed me a DNA test. I'm going to mail it back. Who knows what the hell is going to come up in that thing. But
half lizard person.
Yeah, this might be some sort of sting operation by out-of-state law enforcement. I'm not quite sure. But I've signed up for their app. I'm doing all of the flexibility testing and everything. They're sending me a personalized workout plan.
How's your flexibility?
I'm actually shockingly flexible.
Okay.
Ask Pedro Rotolo when I rode with him in Mexico. Trey, what do you say? He's like, goddamn, seriously flexible.
That's exactly
I do
what he
this
said.
stretching routine at 5 a.m. in the sauna every day, and once a week, somebody will be in there and just be like, wow, that's a good pigeon pose. You can go deep in that thing. Like I go ham on my stretching.
I am not flexible.
I'm shockingly flexible.
I'm terribly flexible.
But wait till you see how jacked I get on Morpheus. Personalized training. I'm going to use this, get ready for Master Worlds, go to Master Worlds, wreck some dudes in a gi.
Hell yeah.
On to the event. Tezos, who's number one. Let's just kick it off. What were your big takeaways from the night? Corey, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely one of our most successful nights so far. The highest submission rate we've ever had on Who's Number One, and credit that entirely to the athletes, and I think them understanding the message. That's what we all want to see, right? We all want to see them going out and getting it done. From the brand new people we had a lot of to the more experienced veterans, everybody knows what Who's Number One is about.
People are getting it.
They're going out for the submissions.
People are getting it.
Dying on their shields if they have to, but yeah, it's great to see.
Absolutely. And yeah, the ones who lose by submission or win by submission, we'd like to bring them back. You know, we like the exciting people. Reed, what do you think about the event?
Yeah, man, incredible event. I think best Who's Number One so far that we've done. Just every match delivered, even the ones that didn't end in submission. Keith versus Gabriel was an incredible match. Meregali looked fantastic, so you got to give Meregali a shout out as well. But man, I think technically, I feel like one of the sickest things that I saw was that Luke Griffith, where he wrestled up from guard, took Joe's back and choked him out in like 45 seconds. That was one of the slickest things I saw all night for sure.
Trey, what do you think about the event?
Man, overall,
it doesn't matter what you think. No, just kidding. Trey, what do you think about the event?
No, overall, great event. Obviously, people are already in the YouTube chat right now talking about how insane it was top to bottom. A lot of people are pointing out how crazy of a match Mika versus Dante was. I'd say for me personally, though, watching Hysom go out there, submit Elder Cruz, and then give the "Are you entertained?" walking on with this massive wingspan.
Hysom 5-1 now on Who's Number One. Only lost to Tim Spriggs. Before we get going, a little roll call. Who's in there? Which of Connor's online friends are in there? Which of his alter egos? I'm pretty sure it's just him talking to himself. Who we got?
Yeah, I don't see some of the OGs. They're still trickling in.
They're not coming because they know it's you today.
Yeah, I know. Connor's not here, so they're out. But some of my boys are in the chat. We got Marv, James Barrett, Adam Butch.
Shout out Adam Butch.
Shout out Adam Butch, baby.
All right,
let's go.
Before we get going, we're gonna go match by match to talk about the event. Let's talk about. We want to do a move of the week, a new section we're gonna do here. The move of the week. What else are we gonna go with other than the submission of the night from Tezos, who's number one? Sofia Casella coming in on a week's notice and submitting Jessica Crane.
Yeah, man, this is super impressive, of course. Not many people know Sofia, I feel like, but it's big stage for her. Big step up in competition. All the spotlights on you. You never know how you're going to perform, on a big stage like Who's Number One. But wow, did Sofia, impress everybody. And I think it's a pretty short match, too, right? It was like 45 seconds.
Less, it was, 20, 25, 23 seconds, I think.
Is this faster than the Danielle Kelly one?
It is faster than the Danielle Kelly one.
Oh, we got a new fastest women's submission in Who's Number One history. Here it goes.
Yeah, second fastest in Who's Number One history overall. And it goes to show what competing often can do for these up and comers, right? This is Sophia's third competition in a row. She'll be competing again at the West Coast Trials. So it goes to show that, you know, when young athletes, when up and coming athletes are active, they can overperform.
Comes in on a week notice, stepping in for Tammy Musumeci. Big submission win for her. So let's just start at the top of the card here. Gordon Ryan came back, his first real match. And it was 364 days, correct?
Wow.
Yeah.
2 days away from being removed from Corey's no-gi ranking, so it may or may not have influenced Gordon's decision here. But he came back at his first real match in 364 days against Jacob Couch, the Hillbilly Hammer. I mean, Couch just tapped Roberto. He beat William Tackett. He's no joke. Gordon looked as dominant as ever.
Yeah, and we always kind of are waiting to see not just if Gordon will win, but exactly how he will enact what he's planning on doing that night, right? He wants to put on a show, and he feels the best way for him to do that is to work on something specific in competition. This time, really, his half guard passing was surprising, but his top pressure was really something to be studied, right? His ability to just lean on Couch and wear him out, and tapped him with pressure and with that armbar setup.
Looked very uncomfortable. Reed, I think something that if you're in the 99 kilogram division or 99 plus, or you're Andre Galvao, something that's not a good sign for you is how healthy Gordon Ryan looked. When we saw him against Philip Rowe compared to this weekend, he looked like a different person, right?
Absolutely. Healthy and happy. We've never seen Gordon like this in quite some time. You could tell he was really eager to be back out on the mats. Sometimes, you know, with his stomach, you never know kind of like which Gordon you're going to get. Sometimes he's just in so much pain. And sometimes, you know, he's eager. But this time, he was dancing around out there on the mats, you know. He was having such a good time. So, yeah, really refreshing to see Gordon back on the mats. You got to give a shout to Jacob as well. I thought he looked great, you know, in the first half of the match. He had some
great attitude.
Yeah, great attitude. He had some great offensive movements, I think, and was able to kind of keep Gordon at bay for a little bit. Of course, you know, that 30-minute time limit, that's Gordon's thing. He's able to just break all of his opponents. But, I thought Couch, you know, still coming out of this, even though with a loss, fan favorite. He made a lot more fans, I think, at this time. And, you know, went out there, did everything he could, wasn't enough. But I'm sure, you know, maybe down the line they'll see each other again.
Like Kyle said, I mean, a lot of people would have died for the chance to just go out there and run away from Gordon for 30 minutes and say, I survived. No, Couch went after him.
Yep.
And a little clarification for people at home, the submission was, Couch says it was a choke. It was actually pressure on his windpipe, wall in the S mount from Gordon, so he gets him with the choke. But, I mean, the Empire strikes back. The former DDS, the new wave Jiu Jitsu run by John Danner, 3-0 on the night, 3 submissions. These guys just came back and just destroyed everybody. Trey, what are they saying online about this Gordon versus Couch match?
Oh, man, they're giving a lot of props to Gordon, obviously, saying that Gordon looks like he's back, looking unstoppable. But, yeah, definitely some people pointing out Couch's false reap entry, which was probably Couch's like gleaming moment for the false reap into cross.
Just that made it worth it for him to do this match.
100%. But we got some legends filing into the chat here now. We got Becerra. You know, he's always here.
Loosely using the term legend. Actually, he gave me that rash card. He's a legend.
Yeah, he's a legend.
What are the legends? I thought you were about to say like John G. Ibero's in there or something.
Oh, no way, dude.
All right. What other legends are lurking in our YouTube chat?
Discord, YouTube chat legend. Hey, I'm just leaving Becerra on his own. He's the
Discord
one legend.
legends.
If O Steve shows up,
legend.
If O Steve shows up, he'll be another legend in the chat. But
that's the only legend? You said legends.
Maybe oversold it by going plural. It's just singular for now.
Okay, all right. No offense to the rest of the people in the chat. You guys are all legends in your own right.
Yeah, you guys are new gen.
Yeah. You guys work hard enough. You guys show up every Wednesday. You might become legends too. But
also, too, I wanted to point out that, you know, that I love that Gordon is just constantly thinking about Andre Galvao through this whole thing as well, you know, and constantly looking towards September.
With the note.
Yeah, of course, at the end of it, you know, Gordon well known for calling his submission, calling his shot, and he put the envelope on Howell's desk there, and afterwards we all opened the envelope and we got to see that he didn't call his shot. He was commenting on Andre Galvao. So I love that he's constantly keeping that rivalry kind of front and center as well, because, man, I'm jacked up about that one.
What a match. I mean, Gordon's health looking good. May or may not be using Neo BJJ Morpheus. We can or cannot confirm. Probably using it. Probably everybody who won on this event is using Neo BJJ. Co-main event, Dante Leone versus Mika Galvao. Mika takes the decision, unanimous decision, but I mean, people were pretty split online. Trey, before we get going, ask the fans in there who they thought won this one. I'm going to kick it around real quick.
Question.
Dante's takedowns, first off, were lightning fast. He looked a lot faster than Mika on the feet. Mika had the most significant submission attack, the arm lock, and he also sort of chased it back in the triangle before it. Who do you give it to?
Yeah, I don't want to hear any arguments about this. This was the closest match we have
You're
ever
going to hear
had.
arguments about it. You can't just say that. You can't just shut down all conversation.
It's the closest match we've ever had on who's number one, right? But watching it Matt's side, I thought I would have given it to Dante. Went back and rewatched it. I understand why the judges gave it to Mika, and it was really that Dante, for sure, won the battle standing up. Right, he initiated and he sold and he won all the takedowns and looked dominant on the feet. When he got to the ground, though, he was a little more hesitant to pass, and you could see that because Mika was coming up whenever he wanted. Basically, Mika was a little more active from his guard, and I think what the judges were looking at. I'm speculating here, but if Dante's going to bring the match to the ground, he's got to then try and pursue the attack. Now, Mika's a really hard guy to underhook, and a really dangerous, more importantly, guy to underhook. You don't want to give him your arm, and that is one of Dante's favorite ways to pass, is a knee cut with the underhook. So it kind of kept him going back. I don't know that it was the armbar that sold it for Mika. I think that was one of the things in his favor, but I think it was his ability to put pressure on Dante from the bottom that ultimately won him the judge's decision.
Reed, are you going with?
So do you went back and rewatched it? Do you agree?
On second look, yeah, I can see the first look. I had Dante 100%. Second look, I think I see the reason Mika won.
Gotcha. Well, I guess maybe I have to watch it again, but I think being there in the moment and just kind of like from my perspective, what I like to see in a jiu-jitsu match, what I like to see in jiu-jitsu, I thought Dante was going to take it. Just because I thought Dante was pushing the pace more. He was more aggressive. He was bringing the fight to Mika. That's kind of my perspective of the match. Like I said, maybe I need to watch it again. But I thought just the takedowns that Dante had and the way that Dante, from what I remember, really didn't take a backward step. It seemed like he was the aggressor the whole time in the match, and that's what I like to see in a jiu-jitsu match. I like to see people being aggressive. I like to see people being offensive rather than reactive, which is, I feel like Mika is just a little bit more reactive. He'll let Dante shoot or let Dante try to pass, and then he'll react to those things, and he's so good. He's so quick at reacting. He's able to get an armbar or get whatever he gets. But I think just watching it from live in the moment, I thought Dante won, but that's just my perspective.
Oh, gee, Trey, you just booked a trip to Manaus, so plane ticket to Manaus. So you may or may not come back from the jungle based on your answer here. But who are you going with as the winner in this co-main event?
Man, obviously super tough. I think they both look great. I'm gonna say Mika for my personal pick of who I think won. I think the main difference being his submission attempts. I think Dante did control a lot of the match, had a lot of aggression, and the chat is super split on this one. They're both saying they're going pretty split, Dante versus Mika. I'll just kind of mimic what they're saying. A lot of them were giving it to Dante because of his takedowns, his control in top position, the fact that he was always bringing the action to Mika. But the kind of thing they're pointing out is his lack of submission attempts that kind of pushes Mika over the edge for the other side of that argument.
All right, I'm going to play moderator here in this gangland beef. He's got a 2-on-1 argument going on. You're Dante, the other two are Mika, right?
I'm Mika, yeah.
1.5 people is going for Mika. All right, so Corey, you kick it off in 2 sentences or less. Why does Mika Galvao get this decision?
Oof. He was more aggressive from the bottom, and he had his armbar attempts.
All right, Reed, how do you defeat that one?
Dante dictated where the fight took place, the whole match.
Trey, your answer to Reed.
Mika was bringing the submission attempts. That's the pinnacle of the sport, is the submission.
I'm going to have to go with, on the night of, I was leaning towards Mika, rewatching. I'm going with Dante Leone. I think if you take away that 10 seconds of the match, it was a good submission attempt. That is our number one criteria. But I think Dante basically controlled the pace for the other 14-something minutes. And it's not, if this was a situation where Mika got that arm lock and Dante was sort of running away, but no, Dante kept going after him the entire match. Like, Dante wasn't backing up when I'm saying he was controlling the match. I would lean towards Dante, but this is one of those decisions where it's like you can see an argument for either way. As long as you can see an argument for either way, I'm fine with it. Nobody got screwed. It's not like, we've had some matches where we walk away like, God damn, the wrong guy won that one.
Ultimately, incredible match. These are two guys we love to have on Who's Your Number One. Two guys we love to watch compete for this exact reason. They both throw the kitchen sink out there. They both get after it. Of course, Dante and Mika, they're going to have some more matches on Who's Number One here this year, and they're going to light up the stage. Both these guys are some of our favorites. So, I'm sure these guys will meet again down the road, and hopefully,
maybe ADCC.
Yep.
Dante, a great example of how you can take an L and still raise your stock.
Right.
Dante took an L here. People were like, because Mika's coming in with this sort of mythical sort of status. People are scared of him after the South American trials and stuff. We tapped everybody. Like the betting lines had Dante a heavy underdog. But when we released this one online, everyone's saying Dante's going to get finished under a minute. All unfair to Dante, in my opinion, given his status. But then Dante goes out there. And I mean, Dante, no offense, Dante's kind of a meathead. He's kind of a tough guy. Dante's not going to back down to nobody. Dante went out there and he went after him the entire time. And just like, we saw Dante go 15 minutes with Gary Tonin on Who's Number One. He just went 15 minutes with Mika Galvao. Like, Dante's not an easy guy to put away.
Yeah, a lot of veterans like Dante, accomplished grapplers, don't want nothing to do with Mika Galvao. Yeah. Don't want nothing to do with these next-gen, young 17-year-old, 18-year-old competitors. But Dante don't give a fuck. He's out there to scrap with anybody.
What's next for Mika in this 170-pound division? I think is a topic we should maybe dive into next week. We got a lot to talk about this week, but that 170-pound division is pretty fire going into ADCC with all those 77-kilogram grapplers. But let's keep it moving along. Third match, Nicholas Meregali. No-gi debut. Woo! Iowa style. Just broke Arnaldo Maidana. Arnaldo Maidana got 2 stalling penalties. Could have got 3. I'm glad the referee let it go because Nicholas ended up, repaying us for that with the submission. But Arnaldo was very defensive. He was backing up. Even his hand fighting was a lot of popping off clearing the collar tie, backing up and resetting. Like I rewatched it in the first 2 minutes. He did that like 8 times. Like he could have been DQ'd in the first 2 minutes. Great refereeing by Gabriel Martinez. Let it keep going because Meregali's pressure was enough to keep it exciting. You could see Meregali gradually wearing him down, right? Gradually getting closer and closer on the single leg attempts. And then at the end, just big dogged him. Just big brothered him, basically. Just pushed him over and then just jumped on an arm lock. That's a no-gi world champion. Say what you want about Arnaldo Maidana. Nicholas Meregali went out and tapped a no-gi world champion at black belt in his no-gi debut.
Yeah, and this is, I think, a great example of when we talk about, like, what is good wrestling on Who's Number One and what is bad wrestling on Who's Number One, right? Nicholas Meregali was going in, snatching up singles, and bullying Maidana around the mat when he had the single leg. Maidana, when he had offensive maneuvers, right, he was clearing the collar ties, but he wasn't following that up, and he was using that to create and not close distance. So when you talk about why Maidana got those penalties, it's because he was making distance anytime he had the opportunity to use to make an offensive maneuver, whereas Meregali was snatching up singles and bullying Maidana with his wrestling.
Every shitty wrestling match that's happened on Who's Number One or any other, and there's always, it looks like both guys aren't engaging, but there's one guy that's walking backwards. But usually the guy who's stalking him down isn't doing as much as Nicholas was in this match to force it. Nicholas wasn't going to let this match. This is classic Nicholas Meregali, right? He could have coasted to a decision in that last couple of minutes. He was not going to let this match go the distance if he got the submission with 20 seconds left or whatever, right, Reed?
Yeah, it was a classic Meregali match in that sense that he's always hunting the submission. And then, it was the last minute or so?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, wow. So incredible match from him. I love that it just kind of built the whole way up and it built all the way to a submission. But what I loved most about it was that it was a Meregali match that we've never seen before. It was a new Meregali match. We've been watching Meregali for a long, long time, and I would have to say, 99% of his matches he goes out there and pulls guard, right?
Yep.
So for him to go out there this time and wrestle for 15 minutes basically on his feet and be the offensive guy and be the guy who takes down the no-gi world champion multiple times, it's a Meregali 2.0. It just goes to show you what he's learning in that room with Gordon and John and some of the best people in the world. You can see that he's already improving leaps and bounds in his no-gi games. Meregali is going to be a problem at ADCC.
Tim Spriggs was calling himself Blast Double Poppy at the Who's Number One. Is this Snatch Single Poppy? Is this Nicholas Meregali?
That's a great one. That's great.
Man, but this was how you make a wrestling match exciting. And I'm always yelling about shitty wrestling, man. This was Meregali was forcing the action. He was going forward. His attacks were evolving. You're seeing him getting closer. You're seeing Arnaldo break under the pressure. You're seeing Nicholas's single leg attempt. This is how you do it. This is how you force the action on the feet. Instead of walking,
From a guard puller. From a guard puller who's only been wrestling for...
Guard pullers plays collar sleeve omoplata game, yeah.
a couple
Deep De La
months,
Hiva.
and suddenly he's put on some of the best wrestling on Who's Number One.
Trey, what's
Incredible.
going on with our cast of legends there in the Discord YouTube chat?
Yeah, the legends are sounding off. I gotta admit though, voice of the people right here. This is my opinion. They're saying they think it was a bit of a snooze fest up until the last 30 seconds where Meregali just big brother shoved him down and tapped him. But I think a lot of people just maybe wanted to see Meregali finish the single.
They wanted him to bulldoze him.
It
wasn't going to be that easy. Arnaldo's no joke.
Arnaldo's no joke. I think like one thing to point out about this is that's like the first glimpse of seeing Meregali's wrestling after how long has he been training with
7 weeks?
7 weeks, and he's already snatching up singles like that. The next iteration is going to see him running the pipe, putting dudes down with the single.
Oh, he's going to win ADCC. Nicholas Meregali is going to tap everybody at ADCC. I'm already calling it.
He'll hook them all, yeah.
Yeah, Nicholas Meregali, when I get on the Meregali train and I start yelling about what he's going to do, he goes out and he does it. He didn't lose at Worlds. I said he was going to get double gold. We went undefeated, me and my man Nicholas. So Nicholas Meregali is going to he's going to win ADCC. I cannot wait to see how good he's going to be. I mean, if he's gotten this good in 7 weeks with John and Gordon, wait till he's been there 6 months.
Exactly.
One thing I think we haven't talked about.
Problem.
One thing I think we haven't talked about a lot about Meregali's game because we spent 13 minutes on the feet in that match, right? But there were 2 lightning fast passes, right? He got past
instantly
Maidana's guard the moment he took it to the ground. So it's not just that his wrestling is developing with New Wave, with Danaher, and with Gordon, but his whole game is developing. We only saw a couple aspects of
I
it.
can feel for Arnaldo Maidana because when I train with these big name guys, that's how fast they pass my guard. That's how fast they pass my guard and tap me. All right, so moving on along. What was the next match? Hysom Rita, dude, 5-1 on Who's Number One. This was a match that Kyle Terra was telling me I was crazy saying that Hysom was going to win. Everybody was telling me that they were betting on Elder. A lot of people thought Elder was a bad matchup stylistically because of his wrestling against Hysom's a big, lanky guy, stands up straight with the judo. Well, Hysom shut everybody up here. Quick submission. Corey, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I did not know what to expect going in because of that. Because Hysom's got long legs, and that's kind of the way that Elder likes to shoot in. He likes to get in on a single and turn it to a double or knee pick, whatever. But Hysom had the perfect game plan, right? The first time Elder shot in, Hysom timed it perfectly, jumping closed guard. When he realized maybe he wasn't going to off balance Elder, got back up to his feet, let Elder shoot again, and just beautiful sprawl, perfectly timed goal behind, and right to the finish. So, I mean, it couldn't have been planned any better.
My man, Hysom Rita, dude. This dude's killing it out there,
Gets
man.
it done when it counts.
One of the most electrifying athletes on Who's Number One, right? This dude, remember his match with Mika when he had that crazy armbar? Like, this dude's throwing out submissions left and right.
That Big O.
Yeah, Big O's another big one. Triangle them, man.
Giancarlo for third at the Who's Number One championship.
Hell yeah, man. Hysom's been out there killing it. He's been taking this opportunity on the Who's Number One stage. He hasn't been taking it for granted. He's been going out there and making sure he delivers for the fans, for everybody watching. You cannot say that Hysom Rita's had a bad match on Who's Number One. Big things in the future for Hysom Rita, I think. This guy is electric. Love watching him.
Here's a quick call out for Hysom, too. He has the most wins of anybody on Who's Number One in the light heavyweight division. Yeah, so he's absolutely climbing his way there. He's got 3 submissions and 5 wins, right? He's 5-1, 3 submissions. That's exactly what we're looking for. That's why Hysom keeps coming back.
What are they saying online about this one, Trey?
The people are stoked about Hysom winning for sure. I will say real quick, a few of you in the chat keep saying to show the fights. Listen, we can't give away that stuff for free now. If you want the fights, you got to go over to FloGrappling.com, get yourself a subscription, watch all the fights you want, all the films you want. So head over there if you want that kind of action. But the people are stoked for Hysom. A couple people are a little shocked that he was able to handle Elder in the way he did. But, man, I got to say, I don't think there's anything better than watching Hysom walk around the mats afterwards. Like that was just an incredible scene to see him that stoked.
I saw he was like walking around, doing this thing, and he was like, "Put some respect on my name."
Dude, nobody was picking Hysom. For the record, I picked Hysom on the pre-show, but nobody was picking Hysom going into this thing. This was one that a lot of people thought Elder was a bad matchup for him.
Yeah.
Hysom just proved anything can happen. He gets him in the scramble. I rewatched it. He gets to that front headlock, spins to the back, quick go behind, just right to the back. Never even gets the hooks, just finishes with a choke. great performance by Hysom. I mean, you talk about Elder Cruz. It was 2-0 on who's number one against beat Jacob Couch and Nicky Rod in just two matches.
It was a bad matchup for Hysom. It really genuinely was.
Another guy. Let's get into the future next week. Hysom at 205 is another guy that we could get into next week about who he could go against. I mean, maybe Pedro Moreno for the belt. Who knows?
My man wants a title shot.
The chat has some suggestions. They have some names
Let's
for
hear
you.
him. Let's hear him.
They're saying Nicky Rod a lot. They want Nicky Rod. Hysom Nicky Rod. For the belt, they want Hysom to have the belt. So those are the two, but I'm sure they'll come next week loaded for you.
Ask them which belt do they want to go for, Tim Spriggs or Pedro Moreno.
All right, on
to the first match of the main card. Dr. Death, Keith Krikorian goes out
Is that
and
what they
beats.
call him, Dr. Death?
Does anybody get that? Jack Kevorkian, Dr. Death from back in the day, the euthanasia guy. Dr. Death, Keith Krikorian goes out and beats Gabriel Souza. Gabriel Souza coming off of his silver medal at Who's Number One Championship where he tapped Mikey, obviously. Big performance, beat Cole there in a ref's decision. Keith Krikorian won a ref's decision here. It was a great match. I really thought this was the perfect example of a match that can go the distance and still be exciting. I thought Keith deserved the decision. Corey, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, Keith definitely controlled the action. I was really not surprised, but impressed by Gabriel Souza yet again coming out and nearly passing Keith's guard like 3 times. He's so good at that, like Toriano style north-south pass. And Keith hung in there, right? He kept on just barely recovering his guard enough to let Gabriel work himself down. And when Gabriel got a little tired, Keith really picked up the pace, started engaging the legs. I was surprised that Gabriel wanted to play the leg game with Keith because Keith is so versatile there. But yeah, Keith, absolutely the kind of guy we want to have on Who's Number One. Hope to have him back soon because he kind of demonstrates exactly the style we're looking for. Going for those no arm triangles. I don't know if you saw that, but like those.
Yeah,
right.
He definitely wanted it. Yeah, that was definitely part of his game plan.
Yeah, no, man, we've been trying to get Keith on this show for a while now, it seems like. So great to have him finally on the show. Like you guys have both said, super exciting style, submission focused, and the match delivered the norm triangles. But what impressed me was Keith's guard retention. So just nonchalant about his guard retention. Like it made me envious. I was like, damn, wish my guard was that good. But, fun match, both back and forth. I thought it was pretty clear, to be honest, that Keith won, especially that last, like, two minutes or so. I felt like Keith really kind of turned up the pace on Gabriel, which is surprising because Gabriel has the experience on this stage and everything like that. So Keith, in his debut, took out one of the heavy hitters in this division, Gabriel Souza. He's way up there. What's he ranked? He's got to be ranked.
What's he ranked?
2, 3.
You're the master of the rankings.
155 is number 2 right now.
2, see?
Used to be. Keith
So that's
Krikorian.
a huge
Dr.
win.
Death is calling. Trey, what are they saying in the chat before we get out of here?
Yeah, a lot of people were super stoked on this fight. The BBC himself, Jordan Butler.
Explain that name. You can't just yell out the BBC. Explain why he's the BBC when you say it.
He's the blue belt champion.
He's the blue belt
of course.
champion. All right.
Yeah. So the blue belt champion has spoken. He said that this was a fire match, so they're all stoked. I will say they dropped a whole bunch of who they want versus Hysom. They're wanting Hysom versus Pedro, and they want Gordon versus Spriggs. So I don't know, maybe a little something there for a future match.
I don't hate it. All right. Before we get going, Luke Griffith, I'll be honest with you. I made this match because Gordon kept telling me how good this kid was. I had never even seen him compete. I thought Joe D was going to put it to him. I thought Joe D was going to smoke him. Joe D just tapped Trator, the ADCC silver medalist at Nogi Worlds at black belt. I mean, Luke made quick work of Joe D.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be the biggest mismatch on the card, only because I've been.
Oh, a lot of people were telling me, they're like, man, I feel bad for this guy. Why'd you make this match? And then Luke goes out and wins by submission quick.
Yeah, and I've been following Joe Durkheim for a while, right? Watched him at ADCC trials where he put everybody through the mat. Watched him at Nogi Worlds where he took second. He beat Trator. So I, not knowing who Luke Griffith was, I counted him entirely out. This was the biggest surprise for me on the card.
You think Joe counted him out at all?
I don't think Joe would want to go.
No?
Maybe.
He hit that takedown so quick at the beginning of the match.
He blasted double poppy to right off the bat.
He did.
Yep.
Yeah, that was slick, man. Luke, congratulations to him. Of course, kind of unknown in the jiu-jitsu space. He has a huge win here on Who's Number One. So congratulations to Luke.
Guys, Neo BJJ Morpheus, you have no idea how important this is. This thing is going to save my life. I am not what would be described as a healthy person. unhappy. I am bitter. I am jaded. I'm angry at the world. I'm here sweating like a fucking pig in this winter-style tracksuit. It's got the lining in it under these lights. I got my fat fucking feet that can't fit in my shoes anymore. I am going to die in a matter of months if I do not get on this plan. Neo BJJ is going to not only save my life, but I'm going to tap some people at Master Worlds. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to put in a training camp. Me and my boys over here all going to Master Worlds. You'll see us there in September. Anything to say before we get out of here?
No,
We got a trailer to play?
Oh,
Oh, shit!
We got a trailer to play. Play it one more.
Battle stations. Trey, warn the legends, the League of Legends in the chat. Here it comes, the Who's Next trailer, a part of the Who's #1 universe. There we go. I'm
So,
your host,
we
Hollywood
get,
Mike.
I
We have audio?
Welcome to Who's Next.
Talking over it, Nico?
I guess just talk, Reed.
Okay.
Reed, produce.
You're all here
So,
because you're some
guys,
of the best,
let us know what you
most
think of
exciting
the
up-and-coming
trailer in
grapplers
the
world. You're here for a reason.
comments. It's on
Over
YouTube.
the next
If you
2
haven't
weeks,
seen it,
we're
check
going
it
to
out.
compete in a
This is Who's
16-man
Next, man.
submission-only tournament.
Working on this.
It's a no time limit tournament. No points, no decisions, none of that. Submission
all right,
only.
so
These 8 people are getting
Don't ever
tapped
cut him
today.
off again.
Nobody
Trey. Go
leaves
ahead,
until
Reed.
there's a submission.
Tim Spriggs, Craig Jones are the
Ultimately, when you
coaches.
become the Who's
Team
Next
Red versus
champion,
Team
and
Blue.
a 3-match
16
contract on Who's
team of the
#1.
world's
Good
best
luck.
up-and-coming
God bless you,
grapplers
and welcome
here
to
to
Who's
Austin,
Next.
Texas to duke it out for a chance at a Who's #1 contract. We had them
up,
jumping
boys?
around
We got a
in,
special challenge
in
for you
Lady
guys
Bird
here
Lake
today.
down here in downtown Austin. You know, crazy
Whoever wins
challenges,
this
bull
match
riding,
makes
and
it to
who
the
knows
house.
what
I wanna
else
get in that
is going to be
house.
on
Like it's
here,
like
but I
Black Friday,
promise you
everybody's
guys,
getting
we
trapped
have been working so hard on this fucking crazy ass show.
This was my first time shooting a gun.
Blow your
guys are
mind.
pretty
I
much neck and neck.
promise it's something that we have
Is this
never
little shit
done
fucking
before
serious?
here at FloGrappling.
I got street animals
So
on
really,
my
really excited about it, of course.
Straight killers.
And coming in
Keep me
May.
still going,
Coming
buddy.
in May.
We
You
have
guys
more
wanna
psychological
check it out.
strategies.
Andrew Tackett,
There's someone over there
Dan
pulling the
Manasoya,
strings.
He looked
Jansen
like he was gonna
Gomez,
beat
Adam
Venus.
Bradley. So many big names on this show.
Who wrote this?
Been working hard as hell. I've been working too damn hard to the point where I don't even want to hear about it anymore. I'm on probation at work now because I told somebody that the other day. I am officially, I have a probation officer at Flow Sports. But Who's Next? This show, filming this show, I was hosting it. I was there for all the challenges and everything. And I was literally in tears crying multiple times a day. The cast and the crew. And all I got to say is wait until you meet the sewer rat. This guy is a character like I've never met before. And he is dedicated to this sewer rat character. Trey, we got anything from online before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean the people are stoked for Who's Next. They're saying it looks sick. They can't wait. Gonna change the sport.
Let's do it.
God bless you. Go fuck yourselves. A lot of big stuff coming in the Who's #1 universe. See you next week.